Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and I am here with Ahmed, and he's got an Indiegogo campaign going that I felt was extremely unique, and I would love to hear more about it from Ahmed. So,
Oh, sure. That's my part now. Well, the Epics of Enkidu, it's a comic book that features a hero with autism, and it is my own twist of the Epics of Gilgamesh. It's like a sequel to the oldest story found in human history, and it sets the story sets in a more modern modern setting, and it's actually aimed to raise awareness about autism through an engaging story about Enkidu and how he's dealing with this new timeline, new world, and it also presents the challenges the society throws to an autistic person, you know. And I hope I can just do it just for all the readers, especially the autistic community.
nice.
I'm sorry, I just woke up, so I'm gonna try to speak.
It's all good. I'm about to go to sleep. You're
Yeah,
all the way out there in Kuwait. I'm over here in Canada,
yeah,
so it's all good. All right.
yeah.
So, the Epics of Gilgamesh, read them, loved them. I didn't actually read it off of the rock. I read it in a regular book. But for anybody who doesn't get that joke, the Epic of Gilgamesh was actually written on a rock found in a cave in Babylon, I think, right? Somewhere in Mesopotamia.
It's yeah, it was first found by an archaeologist called Hormuz Drassam. He found it in another part of the Royal Library of Ashurbanipal, which is the oldest library existed found actually. Hopefully, there's an older library. And the one who noticed what's in that store was George Smith from the British Museum. He noticed a reference to the flood, and he was so happy. He was dancing around, and some of his colleagues said that he stripped around and started shouting and running around through the museum. So it was funny to learn about that. And then he came to Iraq and found the rest of the story, and we have the oldest story found in human history. So yeah,
That's wild.
yeah,
So, so the epics, here's the thing. It's originally called the Epic of Gilgamesh, but you're writing the epics of Enkidu.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That's a good question. Yeah. Well, the thing is, the oldest version of the story was in 21 BC, 21 century BC. So that's more than 4,000 years old, you know? So I have 4,000 years of history to play with. The story, I do have a beginning and ending, but I have a lot of volumes, a lot of stories, a lot of spin-offs from the story I can do from the story. So I thought just one epic is like, if I say just epic, it's not going to be big enough. So I made it epics because it's going to be a longer story, an engaging story, and hopefully it's gonna be, everyone will gonna like them and keep reading them eventually. So
nice. So
yeah.
you can find the link to the Indiegogo campaign below. This is just a general banner there. And of course, you can follow Ahmed on at Autistic or Hero Autistic on Twitter. So let's see. It's my understanding. So this is supposed to be based on your nephew, yes?
Yeah, he was the one who inspired me to create this comic.
Fantastic. So um, basically, what in general drives this story for you?
Well, I mean, growing up, my nephew, he started as a non-verbal autistic person, and little by little, it was a very challenge for him to communicate with us at first. But slowly, he started to overcome these challenges. And I remember the first time he communicated with me directly, like he told me that he wants something, was after I took him to watch Zootopia. And yeah, and there was like a chocolate on what was far away from him, and usually he just pulls someone and stand in, doesn't point, doesn't say anything, just expect us to know what he wants. But at that moment, he just pointed up and he said, "I want Jumbo Pop," which is something they say in the movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Wow, that is the first time he communicates." So like he learned like his educational challenges, his physical challenges, and we took him to gymnastics. All these things just made me think, wow, that him growing up in that way, I wish people could inspire the same way. So the thing that drives me is try to read to spread this positive message to all the people who have these challenges, whether they're autistic or not. We all have challenges in our lives. So if you look at someone like my nephew and see how he's overcome these things, I mean, eventually you'll think, yeah, well, I can do it. So yeah.
That's beautiful. So, what age was he when he first started to talk?
Well, I think it was maybe 4 or 5. Like I think 4, he started just to repeat words. He doesn't say much.
Hmm.
And a lot of times he just repeat words and say things that he doesn't know it means. Like sometimes he says sorry for no reason or something. But like if we're gonna say he says sorry. But I mean, little by little he became more talkative, especially when he started to read. And he's very good at reading, and he's even good with accents. He does British accents. He reads like Peppa Pig, and I love that about him. So that's when he started to see all these things, and yeah, I love that
That's
about
great.
him. I always tell when he talks to me, asks me something, I tell him, "Ask me like Peppa Pig," and he say, "Can I have a violin?" And I'm so happy when he say that. I melt.
That's great.
Yeah.
Before before he started talking, how did you communicate with him?
Well, it wasn't easy. I mean, most of the time, I try to figure out what he wants, what he likes, and I try to communicate with him by doing something that he likes, for example, at first, and then like as a bribe, like if I do this to him, he's gonna listen to me at that thing. So it wasn't easy at first to try to communicate him. It was very difficult, but eventually, I mean, little by little, when he started to be more talkative, it became easier. So yeah.
Hmm. So I was talking with my friend, Comic Boom. He does another channel also. He'd probably love to have an interview with you also, a conversation.
Oh, I'll
Um,
be honest.
I asked I asked him what's something very specific about kids with autism. He says, if you know one kid with autism, then you know one kid with autism. Because every
Yeah.
kid with autism is unique. Every challenge is different. So that was impressive for me. So, with every kid being unique, what specifically about your nephew made you want to tell this story? These stories, these epics.
Well, I'll tell you how it started. I mean, I know every kid is different. That's for sure. Every autistic kid is even more so. And I mean, I used him as a muse, my nephew, and I remember the first time I thought about making a book for him, like a superhero with autism, was during the many times I play with him. He doesn't fall, like when kids fall all the time, but every time he trips, he balances him very quickly, and all my nephews and nieces they fall down. And when I see how he's very quick on his feet, it makes me think differently about him. It makes me think maybe his brain works so fast that everything around him is moved too slow. And it even reminds me of Kim Peek. I don't know if you know this guy. He's the one who inspired the movie Rain Man,
Okay.
the one with Tom Cruise. Yeah. And he was able to read like a full book. He can finish it very quickly, like a full page. Each eye can read one page and can finish a page within seconds. And he can retain all the information within this second. So uh, I mean, I remember that guy, that character, and I also saw my nephew, and I thought, well, the way their brain works is different. So maybe this is not just maybe this is not a weakness what he have. Maybe it's just a strength that we don't understand yet. And that's what inspired me to create the comic. To create a character for my nephew. So.
I was literally going to ask you, name me one power that he has, and the ability to not fall, always land on your feet. That sounds pretty, pretty superpowerish. So, and Nikki in the Enkidu, excuse me, Enkidu in the Epic of Gilgamesh is basically, in many ways, he's a mirror image of Gilgamesh. And Gilgamesh learned so much about himself by having what eventually became his twin brother. What in general is Enkidu going to learn from Gilgamesh in this? Don't spoil the comic.
Well, honestly, uh, um, well, I don't want to say if Gilgamesh will be there or not. That's the first thing. And second of all, the story actually it start even though we know, and there are people who's gonna in the third issue they will tell that he is actually Enkidu. He's actually doesn't remember who he is, doesn't remember everything, and that's even a big challenge for him because it's difficult to communicate with him, difficult to give him the information. Like if I woke up with amnesia, someone tell me that's my name. My name is Ahmad. Your wife is Rita. You live in there. You did this. You're writing Epics of Enkidu, whatever. But with Enkidu, it's going to be more difficult, to deal with this guy. And the only way you can, how to deal with it is just let him just function and try to find a way for him to function, do something for himself in this life, even though he doesn't know who he is. So how Gilgamesh will affect or in what way he's going to learn from him, it's not the same. This is not the same as the epic. But if you remember the Epic of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh was the tyrant in the story in the beginning. He was the tyrant king whose people really didn't love, and it was Enkidu who changed him in the story. Enkidu is shown in the story as an odd person, an outcast, someone who's different, and this is why I even thought about him as an autistic character. So when he met Gilgamesh and trying to prevent him from doing his bad deed, for those who never read the epic, just read it so you can find out what the bad deed is. They fight and eventually they become great friends, and Gilgamesh changes. He stopped doing these things and they become best friends. So Enkidu inspired me to be a hero because he's not just only powerful, he changed a bad guy and made him a good guy. So that's what I love about Enkidu.
Yeah. The first Anakin and Luke Skywalkers. So I love this. And of course, when I said Gilgamesh, I probably should have said in general. I mean it analogously, metaphorically. I don't know if Gilgamesh is actually going to be in the story, but there should be some mirror image. I don't know. This is just my understanding when I'm seeing what you
Well,
have on Indiegogo.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So far you are 1% away. You're like 49% funded, and you only started
Yeah.
yesterday. So there seemed to be some love.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people who really see this as an interesting project. First of all, it's a superhero with autism, something different. No one, not. I'm not. I only know two people who represent a neurodiverse character, and I'm not sure if it's very popular. And the second of all is a sequel to Gilgamesh. It's a 4,000 years old story in the making, and that's the thing. So many people are really interested about to see this project, come into light, and I'm really positive about it. I'm hopeful. And I had got even messages from people from Facebook who supported me in the group, giving me a list of which character could play which character. This character could play Ashtar. This character could play Gilgamesh. This character, yeah. I mean, so it was awesome. I wish to open this screen to tell you which actor is. But yeah, it was really awesome. People are saying these to me, and it gives me a push forward to do my best with this story.
That is fantastic. Well, I saw some of your goals, some of the ways that you can join on. You have besides the books, digital and physical print. You also have you have posters up. You have potential of a T-shirt. Looks like you get a choice of T-shirts. You have also something that's almost completely filled up right now. Is I think the ultimate goal you have is have yourself be written into the book as a permanent character, not some one-off like, hey, shows up, says hi, and leaves. No, a permanent character in the story. There are what, 3 of these left?
3 left. There were originally 10, but my 2 best friend, their kid Ezra, he's 1 year old. He just turned 1 year old, so he's a character. It was a birthday gift for him, and now it's 9 only. So
what is this nepotism? What is this nepotism?
Nepotism? I'm not
No,
familiar with
sorry.
that word.
Nepotism is, when you have someone that, wow, what a terrible way to kill a joke. But when you have a kid and you're wealthy and you give your wealth to your kid, they didn't earn it. They just happen to be related to you. So it's a joke. It's all good.
Okay.
This is
Me
on
and my
me.
bad. On both of us. Yeah.
So no, I already looked over your Indiegogo campaign. I love the video. Seriously, I looked
Thanks.
at it. I was already going to do the interview with you, and I saw that video. I'm like, man, now I can't not do this because, like, you tell the story wonderfully. It should really make anybody want to be a part of this. I think that this is great. Is there a chance that if this is, well, excuse me, when this is super successful, that you might actually wind up showing up in comic book stores at some point?
I'm showing up and coming book. I'm sorry. What
Would
was
Yeah, when this becomes very successful, is there
Yeah.
an opportunity for you to maybe come to different comic book stores? Are you willing to travel? Because you've done comic
Oh,
books before this. You've done stories and writing before this.
yeah. I've done that. But for me to go to a comic store to do a book signing or something like that, I would love to. I would love to, but we need to discuss the possibility and everything. So it's not something easy. I mean, I live in Kuwait and I'm
Yeah.
actually have an Iraqi passport, so I don't know if I can move around to do these things. I might be going to comic cons and comic book conventions when I can. There's one in Dubai and there's one close by. I think I think Malaysia. There's one there. Comic book Malay or something. So yeah, those are the places I can go get access to. So in person, but I'll try my best to go to San Diego and other comic book conventions. We'll see. I'm
See if we
hopeful. I'm positive.
We'll see if we can
Yeah.
get you over here in Canada. I might know a couple people.
Oh yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that.
All right, fantastic. This
Thank
was
you.
great. I really do hope that guys go and follow Ahmed on Twitter and definitely at least stop in, take a quick look at his Indiegogo campaign. I think that one, it's obviously for a really good cause. I think that this is a very unique kind of story that's being told on so many different fronts. And I really think that this is one of the future ways of telling a comic book story. And that's about it. So we're out. Professor Bill and Ahmed, Comic Book University, class dismissed.